Hey creators, thanks for joining us today. You may have been wondering, I want to start creating, but I just am not sure what's the perfect match for me. So today I'm with Joyce and Brittany will be joining us later for equipment speed dating. So whether you're wanting to create mugs, apparel, unique tumblers or cool projects like this will help you find your perfect match. So, we're going to start with our eligible equipment number one, who you may or may not have met, and that equipment is sublimation. So, Joyce, who would be a good match for sublimation?
Oh, anybody who wants to come into the marketplace, who wants to add full color, is interested in getting into selling on Etsy or going to craft fairs, and wants to produce really cool personalized gifts that again incorporate full color. We have a couple examples of sublimation here. For example, this is a linen bag that has a polyester coating on it where you can sublimate in full color. You could customize this. You could turn it into a cool pencil case for somebody going back to school. You could also do, these are mugs that have been coated in polyester. So sublimation ink bonds with polyester. And you could add this for a great gift for a dad. Father's Day is coming up. Or if you just wanted to customize this for, the best boss ever, you could do that really quickly. And also, one of the cool things that I love about sublimation is how vivid the colors are. You can do these photo panels. They come in metal, or this is like a hardboard, and they shine really bright and vividly. So it's a really great spot for somebody who's just getting into this, who wants to come out and make a splash.
Okay, so sublimation is your eligible equipment if you are a beginner.
Mm-hmm.
You want to do full color, and full color,
Simple. You're going to have lots of options with blanks that are already pre-done, so you're not going to have to invest the time and effort into making something in order to sublimate it.
I know this is a tough question, but what makes sublimation maybe not right for somebody?
So sometimes color matching. So if you're trying to get a really specific color, like you're trying to match somebody's logo, that can be tricky sometimes. It can also be tricky because you can't sublimate on anything that's black or anything that's cotton. So you're stuck with something that has a polyester coating. So I could see somebody who maybe wants to do like darker t-shirts, needing to go in a different direction.
Okay, so that's our eligible equipment number one, sublimation.
All right.
Okay, so we talked about how sublimation is great for people looking to do full color, who are maybe newer to crafting. It's a fairly simple process, but some limitations are if you want to print on a lot of different types of fabrics and dark fabrics, sometimes sublimation might not be the best match for you. But something that could work is direct to film, sometimes called DTF, or direct to garment, sometimes called DTG. So tell us a little bit about who is a good fit for DTF or DTG. Who's the perfect match for this equipment?
Okay, that would be somebody who's moving up, who's going and expanding what they're offering, and they want to get into printing on dark shirts. They want to print on a variety of materials, whether that be, putting it on something like a backpack or a lunchbox, a t-shirt, putting it on some shoes. I've seen people, put on the ton of like a shoe, a DTF transfer. They could put it on a hat. So somebody who really wants to expand and really go out there and work in dark fabrics.
Okay. So a little bit more serious of a relationship here, but a lot of capabilities that you can do in printing on. Can you print on hard surfaces, or is this just for fabric?
This is just for fabric.
Okay.
It's going to be anything that is basically apparel, linen, like a tote bag. You could do like a linen pillowcase, anything that's soft and like fabric-wise.
Okay. And I can do that with sublimation,
Mhm.
but just only if it has a certain coating and it's a light color, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so it's a little bit more casual of a relationship over here with sublimation with fabric. Okay, so that is sublimation and direct to film and direct to garment. Now, another really cool, and I think the equipment that has my heart personally, is laser engraving. So tell us a little bit about laser engraving and who's a good fit for laser engraving.
All right. I personally love laser engraving as well. And it is going to be for that user who wants to expand and go into potentially more commercial operations such as signage, but also might be interested in creating very customized like tumblers or customized projects. They can do a lot of different things. You could do mass production of projects. For example, let's say you were doing keychains, you could produce, 50 to 100 of them in a go. So that really increases the volume of what you can produce. So this is, I think laser engraving is for the person who wants to go into much higher production and is interested in working with acrylics and wood and hard surfaces and the tumblers, and is really looking to become really creative, but potentially also involved in other technologies, because laser engraving can embrace sublimation and heat transfer vinyls. You can really do a lot more with it.
Okay, so laser engraving is for somebody who's really creative, really business oriented, has a lot of ideas.
Yep.
And it can seem overwhelming when you're looking at something like this, but I think it's something that I think it's accessible, don't you?
It is. It is
an accessible piece of equipment for us here.
Yeah.
Equipment that's available. We like that.
It is. It's available, and the nice thing with laser engraving is that everything can get broken down. So you can break it down to that flat level. So even big projects like this that seem really involved, and a lot of it is putting it together. So it's a lot of pieces. You can see the thickness on the edge, but these are all layers that got added onto each other. So it's kind of taking something that's two-dimensional and rendering it in 3 dimensions.
Very cool. Okay, well, now that we've talked about all of these eligible pieces of equipment, we're going to take a quick pause and then we will show you them in action. Okay. So I am over here with our eligible equipment. This is our Epson SureColor F1070, which is actually a hybrid DTG and DTF printer. So direct to garment and direct to film printer, who we talked about over with Joyce is a great fit for somebody who is looking to print a lot of apparel, but maybe doesn't want to do the mess of screen printing, or sublimation just is a little too restrictive for them. So Brittany, talk to us a little bit about the process of using this machine for direct to garment or direct to film. How does it work, and can you show us how to print a t-shirt?
Yeah, absolutely. So for the DTG portion of this, has this little wireframe that goes around it to keep the shirt in place. We'll take that off, load our shirt up.
And so this is direct to garment, so we're printing right to the garment, but the garment does have a pre-treatment on it, and you can actually buy these shirts pre-treated. We have the RTP apparel on our website, or that's a process that you can do yourself depending on how serious you want to get with your machine. So she's got that loaded up, and it's a pretty simple process as far as the printing goes, but the reason we say it's a little bit more serious of a commitment is because there is some maintenance involved with this machine. Whereas sublimation, all you have to do is keep it plugged in and turned on. It's great for a craft room, and this is better if you're maybe printing more often or running a small business. But you could use them both in a business, so don't be afraid of that either.
So we went ahead and sent it through the RIP software, and we're just waiting for it to kind of think over here, and it looks like it's ready to go. So we'll go ahead and hit start, and they have that option on there. So if you want to run, say, like 10 t-shirts, you don't have to go back over to your computer and hit start every time. You can just unload, load, and hit start each time.
Very cool. And you can print white on these, correct?
Yes.
So you can do full color with this too.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, it'll print a whole layer of white as the underbase, and then it'll go back and it will print the white on top. Or I'm sorry, the color on top. Now, if you do DTF, which is kind of like the opposite, it would print your white on top because then you're kind of flipping the material onto your t-shirt.
So direct to film, you're printing to film and then on putting the film on the t-shirt. And direct to garment, you're printing direct on the garment. And this machine can do both, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Kind of opens the door a little bit for playing around with some different fabrics and different materials.
Yeah, and they typically last what, like 30 to 40 washes. So this is great for, or even more, but that's
Even
just
more,
kind of a general estimate. So if you've got customers who are maybe you sell to a lot of bachelorette parties or birthday parties, anniversary parties, I think this is a great fit if that's what you're looking for in your machine.
Yes, absolutely.
And what makes this different than screen printing? I know some people think about screen printing, and is this a lot simpler than screen printing, or?
Not necessarily. It's very different. With screen printing, you have to set up the screens, you have to set up the press, and there's a lot that goes into that also. So I think like the good thing about this is that you can still get kind of similar results without having to have a screen press or go through that process. I think some screen printing shops might have a DTG also to be able to print like the one-off t-shirts so that they don't have to load and unload and go through that whole process just for a really small quantity.
Perfect. I just think this machine is very cool. But I don't know, I think laser engraving might still have my heart, but that doesn't mean that you can't have more than one in your shop. You can find one and then, go on a date with somebody else. It's okay.
Yeah.
Now that was pretty quick for one t-shirt.
Yeah, so it's printing the layer of white now.
Okay.
And then it will go back and it will print the color on top of that.
While this is printing, do we want to talk a little bit about the process of direct to film and how that's different from this direct to garment?
Sure. So when you print direct to film, it's going to print the ink straight onto film, and then you're going to cure that, and then you're going to transfer that to your t-shirt. It's not printing directly to the shirt like the DTG is. For direct to film, in the software, it's really easy. You just click a button, it does everything for you, it switches everything over. So then all you have to do is just load your film on to the platen, print, and then run through the curing process, and then you can transfer it onto your t-shirt.
Okay, so this is DTG, but DTF, direct to film, I've heard involves powder and some other things. So what's the difference between printing like this and printing with DTF? How does that differ if I'm using direct to film?
So direct to film is going to print onto the film, and then you'll cure the film, and then you apply it to your material.
Okay.
Doing that. Then DTG prints straight to the fabric itself.
Okay. Now with direct to film, I've heard there's like a powder and I've got to shake it off. How does that work? Do I have to have a machine? Can I do it by hand? What does that mean?
Yeah. So essentially what you would have to do is take the film with the print that was just printed off of the machine, and then you would want to apply the powder, which is kind of acts as like the adhesive.
Oh, okay.
Then you would apply heat to it, and then that cures it, and then you're ready to transfer. And you could go a step further and get a shaker machine or like a heat belt. There's lots of different ways you can go about doing that.
And I think there are some good videos on the website if you want some more detailed information. But right now, we're just giving you the overview of these eligible pieces of equipment. So I think our direct to garment print is done. So let's see what that looks like and see what the finishing steps are.
So you'll pull it off. It'll still be wet. You have to be really careful not to touch anything. And then we'll load it up over here. And then we're going to put a protective piece of parchment paper on here. This protects your print and it protects your heat press.
And a heat press is a great thing to think about investing in as a complement to equipment, especially sublimation, DTF, and DTG. So this is the Stahls Hotronix. I love this press, but there are smaller presses. If you're thinking about, maybe if the sublimation and a smaller printer is right for you, you can go with a smaller press. But we love this one right here because it's got the drawer. You don't have to burn yourself as often. You shouldn't ever have to burn yourself, but it reduces the chance of burning yourself because it pulls out like that. Very cool.
And that's it.
There's your direct-to-garment print. Thanks, Brittany.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, I am here with Joyce. We are talking about eligible equipment number 1 again, sublimation. And we are going to demo how easy it is to press a wind spinner for sublimation. So the process of printing your sublimation print is very simple. So we use the Epson F570 printer, which is a sublimation specific printer. There's also the Epson F170. It's just a little smaller. So those are both great starting points for if you're getting into sublimation, it's something that you want to try. So Joyce has printed her sublimation print, and she's going to show you how to press it.
And I do want you guys to notice, it looks a little dull here, but as soon as we apply heat, it's going to get a lot more vibrant. So the wind spinner is two-sided. I've already gone ahead and removed the masking off of both sides. And so we're actually going to sublimate onto this side. And I've gone ahead and I've just taped it so that my blank, my wind spinner blank and my transfer are attached. And I've got my heat press set and I've got my time and temperature set here. So this is a swing away heat press, a little bit different than the one we just looked at that was a drawer style. And I'm going to go ahead and I am using this white paper here. We call this blowout paper. It just helps absorb any of the extra ink so that it doesn't end up on my heat press and potentially ruin future blanks. So I'm just going to kind of sandwich that in there. And this just needs to press for about 50 seconds at 385 degrees. So
yeah, so overall, it's a fairly simple process. Once you do it a couple times, you print your transfer, you attach your transfer to your blank, whether that's a mug or a photo panel, or in this case, a wind spinner that has that special polyester coating, and then you press your item and you're done. So it's a pretty cool technology, and you get that full color, vibrant print. So people who are looking for that full color, durable wear, this is the machine for you.
yeah.
This is a good technology.
And the only other thing I do recommend is that you have some sort of heat glove.
Yes.
Because that blank is going to be about 400 degrees.
Yes, very hot.
So you want to have something that you can grab with. All right. So I'm just going to release this and go ahead and swing it out and away.
And another nice thing about if you are just getting started with sublimation, you don't need to be too intimidated. This seems like a lot of information, but all of our blanks have the temperature and the pressure, and that gives you a step-by-step guide on how to create your project on jpplus.com.
So you get to see the color that we've added to the first side of our sublimation blank here. And now I'm going to let this cool down for just a second here while I get the second side set up to press. And then once it's done, we'll go ahead and get this all sorted out.
It's beautiful.
Now you can see all that extra ink there. So I'm not going to reuse this because I don't want to potentially transfer that ink to something else. So I'm going to go ahead and actually use the one that I used on the top and put that on the bottom now. So I kind of recycle what I'm doing. So I've got my other half of my transfer here. I'm just going to go ahead and put this down. I'm going to actually put it so that it's at a different angle. So I'm going to have some interest in my design here and just a couple pieces of tape. And I'm going to throw this out there. This is one of my favorite things that we brought on. And you can put 2 rolls of heat tape on it, and it pre-cuts them for you.
Oh my goodness. That's the coolest thing I've
We
ever
have the
seen.
coolest
And
things.
there's a lot of cool stuff in this room.
All right, so I've got my transfer taped to my blank, and I do want to put it so that my transfer's on top, my blank is on the bottom there. And I just grab another blank piece of blowout paper here to protect the top of my platen. And again, another 50 seconds, and we're going to be done.
Very cool. Now, I did notice, so this was just like colorful design, but if you wanted, you could sublimate a picture of your dog or your family.
Anything you want
could
on it.
print so many cool things with sublimation. Like, have you ever seen funny socks with people's faces on them? That's something that you can do with sublimation.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
there's a lot to do with sublimation. Any other tips or tricks or anybody else you could think of that sublimation would be a good fit for? Photographers, maybe somebody who's into vinyl and wants to expand a little bit.
Really anybody. If you've got a wedding venue, if you're a realtor and you want to do something that, for customized gifts for first-time home buyers, if you're a car dealership and you want to go that extra mile, you can make custom keychains for your the people buying cars. Like
Yeah.
anybody could incorporate sublimation into their business to really create that custom experience for their the people coming to them.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I think the cool thing about sublimation is we have thousands of sublimation compatible products, from wind spinners to mugs to bags to keychains to photo panels, and I could just go on and on and on. Pickleball paddles.
Yeah.
So many different things that you can do with sublimation. So whatever your business is or your passion is, sublimation has a fit there. So
Now you can see we've got color on both sides. And I'm going to put on another heat glove. See if we can't bend this just ever so slightly so we can see the full effect of a wind spinner. It is a little warm. The only thing with sublimation you just have to pay attention to is how warm a blank is as you pull it out. You just don't want to risk burning somebody as you pull something out.
very cool.
Right.
Very pretty.
Ooh.
Well, thank you for demonstrating our eligible piece of equipment,
You're
number 2,
welcome.
sublimation.
Anytime.
Okay, we are back with another piece of eligible equipment, which is our laser engraver.
Yes.
So this specific model is our Beambox 2, which is a CO2 laser engraver. It's really cool. You can do so many things with laser engraving, but one thing I think we're going to demonstrate today is engraving drinkware. But don't be too intimidated. You can cut out shapes. You can do 2D material. You can do 3D material. But today we're going to show you how you can personalize drinkware.
Yeah, so with this laser, this one offers a chuck rotary, which enables you to really quickly and easily personalize drinkware. So everything from a 40-ounce down to something that has got a little bit more curve here at the bottom, like this wine tumbler. And the nice thing is you could customize these, whether this is being made for an individual person with their name on it, or for example, a business. If you've got a bar and grill that wants to have personalized drinkware, or I've even seen people do QR codes for tables. You can do all of that on this kind of laser. And you can go back and forth between using the rotary to do drinkware and using the honeycomb, which is the flat surface where you can cut acrylic or wood, and you can cut and engrave and do projects really quickly. So this is a real workhorse of a machine, and there's a lot of options of what you can do with it. So we're going to show how to do the wine tumbler today, and that design. So this is a powder coated material. So this has a coating here that once you engrave through, you're going to see the bare metal behind it. So you don't have to have a secondary spray. Sometimes with stainless steel or copper, you're going to need a spray because the CO2 can't mark with a contrast. So you use a spray like Surmark or Laser Bond, and that creates a chemical reaction, which then creates a dark contrasting mark. So this, because the powder coat is giving you that option for the contrast. so you can really clearly see it. So I've already got one set up in here with the check rotary, and we're going to go ahead and send that job so you can see it run. So now that our engraving is done, we do need to clean it. So I'm going to go ahead and remove it from the machine here. And then one trick that I have found works really well is a product like LA Awesome, which is a degreaser, and a magic eraser sponge. These things are great. You can tell this one's pretty well loved. And it does a really good job kind of removing anything that's in here without scratching the powder coat. And then you just wipe it away with a clean cloth. And you can see how nice and shiny that gets. And you've got all that like nice silver showing through. So it's a really clean looking engraving.
Okay, so just a reminder, I'm going to reintroduce you to all of our eligible equipment. So we started with sublimation, and sublimation is great for if that person who's looking for full color prints, a simple process, maybe you want to do photography, you have a realtor business, you just really love crafting. This sublimation is a great place to start. And we really like Epson. So that's our Epson F570. We also have the Epson F170. So that's eligible piece of equipment number one. And then let's move over to our eligible equipment number two, which was our direct-to-garment, direct-to-film printer. This technology, again, is great for somebody who's looking for something a little more serious, really wanting to print on a lot of fabric items, t-shirts, totes, bags, without that limitation of only white or light colored items with polyester. So that's what this printer is great for. So that is our eligible piece of equipment, number two. And then our last piece of equipment is our laser engraving. Now, this is our Beambox 2. And as Joyce said, there are so many things that you can do with laser engraving. And this really is just kind of a smaller machine. There are big machines on the market, but if you want to get started with laser engraving, this is a great place to start. It doesn't take up a whole lot of room in your shop or on your table. So this is eligible piece of equipment number three. You can cut, you can engrave, which means taking off that first layer of material. You can make layered projects. There's just so many things that you can do with engraving. So those are our three best-selling pieces of equipment. And then we're going to show you a little bit about some really cool things you can do by combining them. Okay. Thank you for joining us, Brittany and Joyce, on this episode of Mastering Making, our speed dating equipment. So talk to us a little bit about the projects that are on the table and what kind of things you can make once you find your perfect match for equipment.
Really, the options are kind of endless. So let's just talk about some of the things that you can combine.
Oh,
so
okay.
For example, this keychain has been done on, this is glitter hardboard that has then been sublimated onto. And then if you want to show that to the camera, but that was cut out using a laser engraver. So if you already have sublimation, you could combine using a laser with it really easily. We offer materials like this that are the hardboard or also the sublimation cast acrylic, where again, you can sublimate, you can cut it out with the laser and turn it into pretty much anything. You could also combine different materials. So if you want to combine, for example, printing with then applying it over top of, this is plywood, or this is a form of our plywood, and then this is the glitter cast acrylic. So really, between laser engraving and then printing, you can create some really cool, unique items that involve multiple different materials and equipment. So if you already kind of have a relationship with a machine, you can always have another one.
This is very true, very true. So anything that you want to add, Brittany, about DTF or DTG, or any tips or tricks that you have for people who are looking for that right piece of equipment for them, and how to make the right investment?
Sure. So this would be kind of a good example for what we were talking about earlier with the DTF and the DTG. So DTG usually prints on 100% cotton. It has a certain size platen. So this was actually done with the DTF on the 1070, but since this couldn't lay flat on the platen, we were able to DTF it instead. So it opens up the door for a lot of different things that you can apply your DTF decals to, or print directly to the garment also.
That's very cool. And then we did talk about sublimation as well. Great for if you're doing photography. It does really well with different skin tones. It just really captures color beautifully, as you can see in that photo. There's just so many opportunities with equipment, and we hope that we helped you find your right match. So if you have any questions, drop Matchmaker in the comment and we'll have somebody reach out to you and help you find the right fit. Thanks for watching.
Bye, guys.